Hi everyone, my name is Andy and I am joined with Luke, and we are here, he's all the way over there. We are here today to bring you a brand new product which we're very excited about. Luke, what have we got?
We have the opsix, which is our new FM synthesizer. We're actually calling it an altered FM synthesizer.
Okay.
Because it's like the old kind of FM architecture you might find from the 80s, but we've altered it quite a lot, and we've added a load more stuff.
There was a lot going on already, wasn't there?
There was. It's pretty complex, but that's actually a really important point, because we've tried to simplify that by giving you more real-time controls, bringing stuff out of that tiny little screen which you used to have to deal with.
I can just about make them out for here, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, yeah, let's just have a listen. This is the kind of sounds that you can get out of it. So as you can hear, it's got a sequencer in there. You can kind of animate the sounds. But the thing is, when most people think of FM, they think of sounds like this. Quite kind of harsh, brassy, bell-like sounds.
Yeah, yeah. The sound of all 80s films, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. But of course you can replicate those sounds because it has the ability to import all of those amazing DX sounds from back in the day. Yeah. But you can do so much more as well. And part of the reason behind that is we've added extra algorithms. So the algorithms in FM are basically the way that all the different operators, which are, if you like oscillators in analog terminology, the way they're all routed through each other.
Okay.
You've got operators, you've got, and then modulators and carriers, and depending on how they're routed and how they're set up, you can get completely different sounds.
Okay.
And we've actually added some of our extra ones as well.
Right. This is a deep subject that we're going to have to dig into properly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not really one for today, but just to make you aware that this isn't just a DX7 basically.
Yes.
It's so much more.
It sounds amazing already.
So you can change the algorithm with the sound, and you can just go into the real-time controls here and change it, and it changes it quite dramatically, and you'll see on the screen how the routing changes there as well.
So it's not just changing pitch, it's or one thing that's changed, as you say, by changing an algorithm, you're changing a load of parameters.
Changing, if you like, the relationship between all of these different operators, the modulators and the carriers, and the way they're routed as well.
Awesome. Okay.
You can even make your own oscillators in here as well.
Right, okay.
It's got what's called a user oscillator, and that gives you kind of a grid, and then you can change the routing manually. So that's an example of that. You can actually then just go in and on the screen go into a kind of user oscillator, user algorithm I should say, and then it gives you a grid and you can just tweak it out to your heart's content really, and start
you can just use your ears and
exactly,
which is
awesome.
Nice.
Just save that as a sound. Really cool thing as well, you've got an analyzer in here. So this is a little bit like the oscilloscope we found on our mini logs, where you can, but you've also got another mode where you can basically see a spectrum analyzer. Oh, wow. And see all the different frequencies, which is a really nice little touch, especially when you're designing sound. It's really useful to be able to see the shape of the sound as well.
Yes, very cool. Okay.
So as well as your different algorithms, you've got different modes, and conveniently they're actually listed here on the top panel, which is really cool. So as well as just regular FM, you've got things like ring modulation, filters, filter FM, and wavefolding as well. So you can do so many different types of synthesis effectively in here.
So it's a bit of a sound designer's dream then in that case.
Yeah, it is very cool. Okay. So if I go into the mode button here on this screen, I can, just by changing the mode, get completely different sounds using that, and then of course you can still change the algorithm, change the carrier, change the modulator. It's very
organic actually to use as well, isn't it?
I was amazed when I was doing some sound design on this how accessible everything is. And we'll mention later that we've got regular filters in here and envelopes, which again simplify that FM programming so much. So there's different ways you can use these algorithms, as you can see here on the screen. Here we've just got literally 6 algorithms stacked, and then you use these faders literally as a mixer of those 6, And here we've got actually saw waves, because with traditional FM you could only use sine waves.
Yeah.
But here we've got loads of other waveforms as well. And you can see that on the screen there, so we can change between all of these different waveforms. So again, sonically that just gives you so many more possibilities.
So this is part of the altered FM and those extras.
Exactly,
okay, that makes sense, yeah.
So you can... Here we've just got a load of saw waves stacked up. You can, it's just a really nice way to stack your sound. And normally with FM you wouldn't be able to get that sound very easily at all, because you'd be down, sort of tied into saw waves, sine waves really.
Which gives you that glassy sound as opposed to all the grit, I suppose, of the other.
Exactly.
So is it just sine and saw wave you've got, or is there?
No, you've got loads of different waves.
Right, okay.
You've got saw, square, and then some more complex waveforms as well.
Okay.
Including noise. So yeah, you've got all sorts in there.
Amazing.
Another way you can use these operators as well, because again, like just using this like a mixer, you can actually tune these to different levels or pitches. So just use it to make harmony that way. And then what these knobs do, they're what's called the ratio. So so they're effectively picking out the harmonic range. So by using those and these levels together, you can tune some really interesting chords, if you like, using it that way. So yeah, there's lots of different sort of techniques you can use, and we've tried to make it as easy as possible.
Yes.
So we've given you lots of templates, which are literally just blank canvases, if you like, of just starting with a sine wave or a saw wave or whatever it might be. So they're good starting points for someone who wants to dabble with programming it by themselves. And because you've got all these real-time controls now, that makes it so much more accessible than it was in the past.
Yeah.
You've also got a cool thing called a randomized button.
The dice.
Yes, the dice, which was brought over from the wave state.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So let's have a go. I'm going to press it. Sometimes this is a disaster, but let's see what happens. Yeah, it's a disaster. And at the moment, it's randomizing everything. But you can be more selective here on the screen and say, actually, I only want to randomize just the operators or just the effects or whatever it is.
Can you set a range of randomization? Is it that kind of thing? Is that what you mean?
You can. You can make it random, and you can make it the amount that you want on there on the screen. So it isn't just a case of pressing the dice and hoping. You can make it a little bit more controlled than that if you want.
That's kind of how I would probably do it, but yeah, just keep pressing. But yeah. Awesome. Okay, that's really cool.
One thing that struck me about this synth is just how warm it can sound compared to a lot of FM synths.
Yeah, I've already shown some of those. Let's have a listen.
So even this pad sound is just so nice. So that's the sort of sound you'd expect to have in an analog synth.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's such a cool sound as well, isn't it?
It really is.
That's kind of opening it up to being the top tier of, like, if you had a piano underneath, having that sitting on top is, you know, because again, traditional, that FM sound, you think, do I want that one glassy sound? Is it what am I going to use it for? But already, it's
it's really
sounds
cool.
lovely. Sounds really good.
And the reason that's possible, partly, is because we've added some stuff. Again, getting back to this altered FM, we've added some extra things in there as well. So like our own filters and making the envelopes a lot more accessible than you would normally get in an FM synth. So for instance, if I press filter there, I can see that I'm using a low pass filter, but I can change that to different types. Poly 6 filter, MS20, high pass filter, band pass filter. So you've got loads of scope there. And then of course you can tweak the filter itself. And the same thing for envelopes as well. You can see a visual representation of the shape per operator.
I was going to say, is that per operator or a master? That's per operator.
And what's really nice with this colour coding on this mixer is that you can see which ones are the carriers, which are basically the ones you can hear.
Yeah.
And then the modulators are the ones that are happening in the background, modulating stuff.
Okay.
So you can see here on this pad sound, for instance, we've got 3 levels. If we get rid of them, they're gone. But if we just want to deal with one, and then we can see the envelope here.
Okay, yeah.
And we could just go into the attack. And just change it up straight away. So
awesome.
Quite like that sound actually.
That's
I might
really
save
good.
that.
I was going to say save that one, yeah, we can use that one, that's great.
So yeah, and of course it has all of those the capability to produce all of those legacy, very famous sounds are all kind of synonymous with FM, if you like.
There are a few that I'm really hoping are going to come out here. I genuinely have no idea
Let's
what
have
you're
a
going
quick
to
listen.
do.
I've made a little set list. So what I'm doing here is going through my favourites using these buttons. They can also be the sequencer as well, which you'll see in a minute. But I've basically saved them all in here. So it wouldn't be an FM synth without that sound in it. Stuff like this. All just and it's got perfect patch remain, so smooth sound transitions as well. So when you change sound, it's really nice. So you can go change sound. Got that kind of FM slap sound. This is a very famous sound. So it's all those amazing song intros from the 80s. It's all there. Leads. And then, of course, not everyone out there might not know, but the Sega Mega Drive had an FM sound chip in it as well, 4 operator as opposed to 6, like the DX7. But you've got all these kind of gaming sounds you can recreate as well. So you've got all the
answers on a postcard for that one. Very nice. Yeah, that's good.
So it does have its it does have a sound.
It does have
that
a sound,
era.
Does it? Yeah, absolutely. This is like it's been done in 4K. It's like the Mega Drive in
Exactly.
4K now. That's great.
Funnily enough, you've got a function in here where you can actually emulate that kind of slightly muffled, grainier sound from those synths as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, so it's good to mess around with that.
Awesome.
Now, of course, you've got all that legacy stuff, but you've also got some really usable keyboard sounds in there as well. So it emulates these sounds really well, and because we've got 6 operators again there with the organ, you can effectively use them like drawbars.
Well, that's amazing, yeah.
Which is cool.
Nice.
Stuff like guitars. Or this one's called Mod Crunch. You'll notice that I've been using the mod wheel a little bit, so that's often assigned to some sort of parameter. So if I bring in the mod, it's a bit more crunch. Because you've got some great effects in here.
I was going to say that we have to have effects to get that sort of thing in there.
Yeah, so you've got a stack of 3 effects. I'll look at those in a minute, but by using those effects, you can really polish the sound even more. Choir sounds. It's really good. And of course, drum kits. And you could do some really clever zoning and splitting. There's some incredible stuff gone on behind the scenes here with the voicing to allow you to do all this sort of stuff in FM as well, which is quite.
Do you have like ARPs that you can play loops, drum loops and things as well in that?
Yeah, you have an arpeggiator in there. So not only can you kind of layer sounds and split. If I go down the octave. So you can create kind of split sounds. You also have an arpeggiator. So this one's for you.
Hello 90s.
Yeah. Bringing that really nice reverb as well.
So is that the arpeggiator? Is that kind of again? Is that a master, or can you assign that to the different operators? How does that?
It's a master arpeggiator, but you do have several parameters where you can just hold down Shift here and go up, and then on the screen now it will show you what note value it's using, what the pattern is, gate time, the octave, and kind of regular arpeggiator settings really.
Brilliant.
Which is nice. We talked about the effects, so you've got gorgeous reverbs in here, which allow you to recreate sounds like this. So if I just bring them up on the screen there, you can see you've got 3 effects blocks, and then you've got things like chorus, EQ and reverb there, but they can all be independently changed. Okay. You've got a whole list of different effects. And it's nice on the main screen, you get access via these real-time knobs to tweak out those effects in real time as well.
And are these the reverbs? Are these the big, beautiful swirls and rising and falling, all that kind of stuff? Yeah, you've got
all those kind of things. It's the sort of thing that we saw, I think, first in the prologue.
Yeah.
And then it's found its way kind of like to the NTS1 even now. And the Minilog XD. And also some of the effects in the wave state are similar to this as well, just to give it that really amazing polished sound. Talking of the wave state, you can see the form factor is virtually the same. We just changed the panel, but you've still got that very kind of, I don't know what I'd call it really, sort of a 90s look.
I was going to say, it's a modern 90s kind of like a nod to it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's great. It's quite nice. And of course, as well as your arpeggiator, you've got a step sequencer in there.
Yeah.
So that makes it incredibly powerful, and every single sound will have a sequence with it, which is very cool. So to audition it, you just go through and then you can press play.
I would say that's one of those features that in store you don't actually have to be able to play to make it sound absolutely incredible.
That's the thing, yeah, because they've been so well put together. And a sound like that, when you just play it, it's quite nice. But when you hear what it's capable of by playing the sequence.
Have these been put together from people all over the world again? So it's not one person that's done it, so it's a collective.
Yeah, it's a team of sound programmers, so you get a little bit of a flavour from different regions, which really helps the instrument as well.
Definitely.
And the sequencer is incredibly easy to use. So all you have to do is press that button there, you put it into sequencer mode if it's not already. It'll show you what's in the sequence. You can play it back. If you're not happy with it, you can just hold down clear. Literally clear all the steps. Hit record. It'll record your pattern. And of course you can overdub as well. But what I really like as well of what they've added is this key trigger mode, where you can basically hold down shift, press play, and then you can play it in any key.
That's great.
It's a bit high actually, that, so it's good. So even though you've only got your 16 steps, by using that technique,
it opens up completely, doesn't it?
It does. It makes it a kind of more usable musically, if you like, as well. Especially if you're using it with a DAW or something like that.
Can you run the arpeggiator within the sequencer as well?
Yeah, you can do that little trick that we did on the Minilog XD sometimes, where you can put an arpeggiator pattern per step, which gives you an amazing 16 different changes you can have within a pattern.
That's a whole other project for another day, isn't it? But that's such a lovely thing that you can do.
But it's really, again, it just opens up loads of possibilities.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, we've got inside more kind of, if you like, contemporary FM sounds as well.
New FM sort of.
Yeah, new FM sort of stuff. That kind of sound. So you can make it sound pretty wild if you want to as well.
But it's kind of mix ready as well, isn't it? You can drop it into a track and you're going with it.
Yeah, or if you do want to strip off the effects, you can just go into that effects screen, turn them all off, record it dry, and then use external effects. So yeah, it's a very special keyboard, this one.
It is. Very excited for it, yeah. Awesome. Okay, well thank you for that. I believe we have some more coming up soon as well, some other instruments. So stay tuned and we'll be in touch very soon.